Hi, welcome to another episode of Real Gold, where we discuss classic films, their relevance and importance, and whether they deserve the awards they receive. I am your host, Matt Duffy. Today is part 2 of our discussion on Olivia De Havilland, the last major surviving star of the golden age of Hollywood, who recently passed away. Now, while Olivia is known for winning 2 Best Actress Oscars, successfully suing and winning a lawsuit against her studio Warner Brothers, as well as starring in arguably one of the most popular and famous movies of all time, she is also well known for her infamous sibling rivalry with her younger sister and fellow actress and Oscar winner, Joan Fontaine. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Now, this rivalry has been tabloid fodder for years, decades even. I mean, almost a century, basically, because according to both sisters, it started at a young age. Whether you believe Olivia's tight-lipped account or Joan's loquacious one, take it with a grain of salt. Let me start off with a quote from Olivia, which I think accurately sums up their relationship. "My sister was born a lion. I was born a tiger. And in the laws of the jungle, they were never friends." Both sisters say the rivalry started at a young age. Olivia says it was because Joan was always jealous of her. Joan says it was because Olivia was jealous of sharing her mother's attention. Olivia so hated the idea of having a sibling that she wouldn't go near my crib. Olivia stated that our biggest problem was that we had to share a room. And she was also perplexed at Joan's insistence of, "I want to do what you're doing." You know, Olivia even says, "I suppose the way I saw it was that I wanted Hollywood to be my domain, and I wanted San Francisco society to be hers." Olivia was the first to be an actress. Joan wanted to follow in her footsteps. However, their mother said, "You can't use the same last name." And Joan is even quoted with saying that. She says, "2 De Havillands on the marquee would be too many. So I had to leave Olivia's distinguished name for her, and I took my stepfather's name." She was also told that Warner Brothers was Olivia's studio, so she had to get a new name and a studio to work for. She changed her name to Joan Fontaine, and she signed a 2-film contract with RKO and got an agent. After doing her 2 films, she then went on to do The Women at MGM with George Cukor. Now, around this same time, David O. Selznick is searching for his Scarlett O'Hara for his version of Gone with the Wind. George Cukor was the initial director for Gone with the Wind. Allegedly, Joan says he asked her to come in and read for Melanie. After it was deemed that she was too stylish for the part, Joan said, "Well, what about my sister?" Cukor said, "Who's your sister?" And she explained, and she said, "And that's how Olivia got the role." Olivia says nothing like that. She says that George Cukor contacted her and asked her if she wanted to do, quote, "something illegal." Basically, he said, "Can you come in and secretly read for the part of Melanie with me and David O. Selznick? If it all works out, David will contact Jack Warner and try and work something out so we can have you in the film." Jack Warner relents, and then she has to get Ann Warner to help lobby. Whether or not which story you believe, they're both good stories. Olivia got the part. She was nominated for an Oscar. The film won Best Picture. Her career ascended, and the rest is history. The same could be said for Joan's character in Rebecca. And allegedly, it was Olivia who offered the part of the second Mrs. De Winter to Joan. Allegedly, David O. Selznick wanted Olivia, but she couldn't because she was with Warner Brothers. The other option, Vivian Leigh, wasn't available. So she said, "Well, what about my sister?" Joan is blonde. Larry, Laurence Olivier, is brunette. So Joan is cast as the second Mrs. De Winter in Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca. The film will become a smash hit. In their review of Rebecca, The Hollywood Reporter wrote, "Joan Fontaine, who, given a great opportunity, responds with a brilliant performance and steps into the forerank of Hollywood's capable dramatic actresses." Joan would be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Many thought she would win. Joan would lose the Best Actress Oscar to Ginger Rogers in Kitty Foyle. However, the film wins Best Picture and is the only Hitchcock film to win Best Picture. Then this takes us to 1941, where the 2 sisters, riding high from their career bests. I mean, these are 2 sisters who who have starred in consecutive Best Picture Oscar winners. It's insane. Nuts. Now, they are both nominated in the same category. They're both nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Olivia is nominated for Hold Back the Dawn, which she was loaned out to Paramount Pictures for. In their review of Hold Back the Dawn, Bosley Crowther with the New York Times writes, Olivia De Havilland plays a school teacher as a woman with romantic fancies whose honesty and pride are her own, and the film's chief support. Incidentally, she is excellent. And Joan is nominated for Suspicion, her second film with Alfred Hitchcock. In his review of Suspicion, Bosley Crowther writes, Joan Fontaine, it must be said, and she, as well as Mr. Hitchcock, deserves unstinted praise. This young lady has unquestionably become one of the finest actresses on the screen, and one of the most beautiful too. And her development in this picture of a fear-tortured character is fluid and compelling all the way. Hold Back the Dawn and Suspicion are both nominated for Best Picture that year too. They would both lose to John Ford's Welsh working class drama, How Green Was My Valley, as well as Citizen Kane. Allegedly, Joan said that she wasn't going to go, but Olivia insisted that she go. And back then, the Oscars were a dinner. So they were both sitting at the same table. And then the award came. Joan won. Allegedly, according to biographer Charles Hingham, on her way to accept the Oscar, she snubbed Olivia's congratulations. Ooh. In a 2013 interview with Scott Feinberg, Joan said, I was terrified because of Olivia, adding with a laugh. I'm still afraid of her. Of beating her sister to an Oscar, she said half jokingly, that was such a mean thing for me to do. And then more seriously added, when I did get it, everybody said, oh boy, you should have got that for the other one. So I didn't get any satisfaction out of it at all. Joan Fontaine's Best Actress win is the only time a performer has won for an Alfred Hitchcock film. Then there were the men in their lives. Joan ended up getting married first, which back then was considered a slight, to actor Brian Aherne, whom Olivia once dated. Also, Olivia's then boyfriend at the time, Howard Hughes, the eccentric millionaire, tried to pursue Joan at the same time. So you had these two men. Plus, when Olivia finally got married to Marcus Goodrich, Joan had a bit of a comment to say about him. She says, it's too bad that Olivia's husband has had so many wives and only one book. This hurt Olivia a lot. In the only interview that Olivia has ever talked about the sibling rivalry, Associated Press 1957, she says, Joan is very bright and sharp and has a wit that can be cutting. She said some things about Marcus that hurt me deeply. Now, flash forward to 1947. This is the 19th Academy Awards. Olivia has won her first Best Actress Oscar for To Each His Own. Joan is backstage having just presented the Oscar for Best Actor. She's waiting to congratulate Olivia. And as Jaime Fink of Photoplay would photograph, there is a shot of Olivia walking away as Joan sticks her hand to congratulate her. According to Olivia's press agent at the time, the girls haven't spoken to each other for 4 months. This goes back for years and years, ever since they were kids. A case of two sisters who don't have a great deal in common. This sibling rivalry is one for the books. Now, their relationship from there is hot and cold. It appears it's mostly hot, though. You know, there are photographs of the two of them together, as well as stories that the two sisters have shared of visiting each other, up until their relationship severed when their mother passed away in 1975. While their mother was dying of cancer, Olivia stayed with her and took care of her, while Joan was out touring the play Cactus Flower. When she died, Olivia claims that Joan chose not to go to the memorial service. Joan claims she wasn't invited. Anyway, it's a convoluted story. The sisters stopped talking. Then it got worse when Joan released her memoir in 1979's No Bed of Roses, or as Olivia calls it, No Shred of Truth. Joan claims that she was the victim of emotional, mental, and physical abuse at the hands of her stepfather, her father, and her domineering mother. She also describes the cruel treatment that she received from her older sister. Joan had a quote in 1978 to People. When asked how she wants to die, Joan replied, at the age of 108, flying around the stage in Peter Pan as a result of my sister cutting the wires. Olivia has always said, I was first at everything. I got married first, got an Academy Award first, had a child first. If I die, she'll be furious because again, I'll have got there first. Both sisters appeared that year at the 50th Academy Awards, but during a class presentation picture, they sat on opposite sides. There's another instance where they were both checked in at the same hotel, where Joan found out that her sister was next door, asked to be moved. So the rivalry just runs, and you don't want to believe it's true because they're sisters, but at the same time, you're like, ooh, this is good. Now, in that same interview with Scott Feinberg, Joan begins to contradict herself when asked about her relationship with Olivia. She says that there is no basis to this, and that two nice girls doesn't make for good press. Let me just say, Olivia and I have never had a quarrel. We have never had any dissatisfaction. We have never had hard words, and all this is press. Olivia, talking about the feud, stated, "A feud implies continuing hostile conduct between two parties. I cannot think of a single instance wherein I initiated hostile behavior. While I had sometimes been defensive, on my part it was always loving, but sometimes estranged, and in the later years severed." Now, I would like to believe Joan's account rather than the media's gossip-fueled, anger-ridden account, but I guess it's all left to the imagination of us as the audience. Who do you believe? And I'll let you guys decide that. Joan Fontaine died on December 15th, 2013, and her sister released a public statement that she was shocked and saddened to learn about her sister's passing. On July 26th, 2020, Olivia De Havilland passed away at the age of 104. And to say that her life and work is fascinating is an understatement. She worked with some of the most prolific and great directors and actors in what is considered the golden age of Hollywood. You will not be disappointed with her work. So I hope you guys understand the importance, the relevance, and the great works of Olivia De Havilland and her sibling rivalry with Joan Fontaine. And I'll be sure to see you guys very soon. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit like, click subscribe, comment, and if you want to follow me on social media, it's at MattDuffy33. I had so much fun making this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Catch you later.